Hi, everyone. This is EstaRa with a message for you. Today is Thursday, June 8th, 2017. And I am going to bring you a full moon message and also do a card reading for you. So I have had really interesting upgrades in the last few months. So I was very, very sick, as I mentioned to all of you, so sick that I was like, literally my body was shutting down from a toxicity that I had. And honestly, if I listened to mainstream doctors, I probably would have died. So that was a big reality check. I also realized it reverberated into my reality as that for me, but something was happening with my beloved as well. And I've been recovering, and actually I've been feeling so good that I've been doing so much more. And I literally crashed the last couple of days. And you'll hear my voice every now and then change, cracking. I'm having a little bit of allergies, but I'm run down. I have a headache. Yesterday, I literally slept all day. I slept all day into the night, woke up to eat. I felt like a baby. I woke up to eat and go to the bathroom and then went back to sleep and did the whole thing all the way until this morning, about an hour ago. So it's been interesting, downloads of information. Lots of stuff has been happening. I've been having a lot of dreams, a lot of vivid dreams, actually, and they've been really telling about things that are going on and coming for me and my beloved, but also in regards to humanity. So last night I had a dream where I was I wasn't employed, and I went in to learn with all these other people, like what needs to be done. And what I got from the message of the dream was I was coming together with all the twin flames about what we need to do to line things up properly. And so what's happening from the dream is like learning to work is all about going into ourselves and like learning what needs to be worked out, what needs to be put properly, what needs to be handled differently. What do we need to look at within ourselves that helps us to align better with what we want to do? So that was a really powerful message last night. But then I got other messages. So I had scheduled an energy body upgrade for the 9th of June. There was an energy body upgrade that I did last week that was really kick-ass powerful. I was like, it was amazing. It took me 40 minutes to come out of the upgrade myself and ground. My guides were like, it is intense. There's a lot of energies flowing in. Lots of things are happening. So one of the things they told me was I needed to change my energy body upgrade. I had scheduled it for tomorrow, and so we changed it to June 11th, and they want me to offer that to all of you at a discount for Twin Flames, particularly because June 11th is going to end a cycle, and we're ending a cycle and we're preparing for the solstice energies coming in at the end of the month. So it's about 10 days before the solstice, and that's huge shifting of energy. So it's like closing out a cycle and really getting a little help to close out that cycle. And it's an old cycle, old paradigm cycle, and it is for both the divine masculine, divine feminine. So if you do want to do the upgrade, be sure to sign up for it, but email me your name and your twin's name so that you're both receiving it. It's a very The upgrades are really powerful in general, but my gosh, they're much more powerful now that I'm like feeling better. And what else do I want to say about that? Oh, and so basically the closing of the cycle that's happening on Sunday is really closing out a lot of stuff that we've been working on, a lot of stuff that the divine masculine has been working on. And I've been getting a lot of questions and comments from friends about like, what's going on with divine masculine, what's happening and everything. And one of the things that I've discovered was, a lot of people are like, oh, this is going to happen now. Well, here's the thing. The divine masculine has been undergoing internal changes, structural internal changes, like physical stuff inside their body, but also emotional, mental as well, since January. If you remember, I talked about how they were opening up to love. And so when divine masculine energy opens up to love, it literally kicks up everything that is not love in their life and actually forces us to face it. So as a divine feminine, a lot of us think, oh, we're done and all this stuff is gone. But here's the thing, we have divine masculine within us as well. But we don't have as much because our divine masculine is our beloved, or vice versa. Divine feminine, if you're a divine masculine, you have divine feminine in you. and the divine feminine is still going through her own stuff. So what's been interesting is the divine masculine has been undergoing transformative stuff internally, and it's happening in a higher dimension, but it's also the big keynote for all of you is that it's not just happening higher dimensionally, it's actually beginning to come into their reality. And if it hasn't showed up in their reality as of yet, it will be showing up shortly. Because what's going on is all that stuff is being kicked up internally, and they're recognizing what it is they want, but then they're looking at their life and it doesn't fit. It doesn't make sense. Like, how is this possible? And they start to succumb back into that old paradigm, the old patterning. And as that's happening, they begin to struggle because an internal battle is going on. So if you haven't checked out my blog, please check it out. When people send me questions now, what I'm trying to do is answer your questions and put them in the blog so that all twin flames can read it. And actually, not just twin flames, because the information is pertinent for all of humanity right now. But if you do have questions, please email it to me and I will share it in a blog, because I feel like we really shouldn't hold any information. Everything needs to be shared. Like, I've always been that way, but it feels like it's even more important now. And the reason I never shared the information before, with questions that people sent me, I just never thought of it. And my guides were like, this is how you get the information out. So we want you to put it in your blog. And I was like, oh yeah, I never thought to do that. So, please, if no question is stupid, no question is ridiculous, no question's too big, too small. If I can answer it, I will answer it for you. Obviously, if I can't, I will work with my guides. But if we can't give you the answer for some reason, if it's a real personal thing, specific to your situation, then we'll give you whatever we can give you for information. But check out the blog because there's so much information. Also, check out my Soul Star Healing fan page, because if you go on to Facebook, the Soul Star Healing, I usually post a message a day. This week, I'm not posting a message a day. See, I'm still kind of sick. I got run down and a little bit of a cold. Allergy is bad here. So all of that. So that's been kind of interfering with me doing my thing because I've been sleeping so much. And on top of it, that also will have the question and answers on that page. So if you want to scroll through it, you might find information in there. I also have a twin flame meditation scheduled for Saturday morning. I am actually canceling that meditation. I am being told to cancel it for now, and we will be rescheduling it at another point. And one of the things that they're telling me is because of some of the upgrades that have been happening in the last week and a half, particularly, and the one I'll be doing on Sunday, um, it's like really we need to let the, for lack of a better way of saying it, they're saying marinate, let the divine masculine marinate. So the twin flame group meditation would be pulling all of us together, and we need to let them marinate. With some of the stuff that's shifting. So internally, all these things that are happening with your beloved, you're feeling it too, and it may be reverberating into your reality. I found that a lot of the stuff that my twin is going through, once I spoke with him, and I spoke very briefly with him recently, um, he's not okay. He literally is going through everything that I was feeling that he might be going through, but it was like massive confirmation in a way that he's never given me before. So the fact that he gave that to me is, I'm grateful. But I'm also grateful to know he's okay. You know, he's not perfect. He's definitely not 100%, but he's definitely okay. Um, there is all this stuff going on, and him talking to me briefly, that gave me the confirmation that what I was picking up was accurate for me and him, but also accurate for all of us. So if you're not in contact with your twin right now and you're not speaking with your twin, I'm going to encourage you to recognize that there is an internal struggle going on inside of them, as there probably is for you. You might not be noticing it. You might not be seeing it the same way. You might not be experiencing it the same way, but it is going on inside of you. A couple of videos back, I mentioned how doubt was like surfacing for a lot of us, and myself included. And that doubt is actually that divine masculine pounding up against us. Like we have this like, yes, no, it's going to happen. This is the divine feminine energy bringing it into the planet. It's just cooperation. It'll happen. We'll work it out. We'll figure it out. But the divine masculine's all or nothing was kind of the view that was happening. And so it was like, well, they're not here. They're never going to be here. I guess it's never going to happen. That energy was actually part of our block, but that was part of our inner turmoil. Most of us by now, I'm hoping, have moved a little past the doubt thing. I don't think everyone has, because I remember talking to a few people in this past week and it didn't seem like it moved past that. They're still in the doubt phase. That is you and your divine masculine internal piece of you that's divine masculine working itself out still. So don't beat yourself up. Don't be angry. Don't be stuck on the fact that, I can't get past this, or don't give up is the other piece I want to say to you. But it's really more about you recognizing that you're also human, and are not perfect. None of us are perfect. And so we all still have our own struggles, our own inner thing. I feel like I've moved past that part, and I actually feel like others are moving past that part, which is really, in a lot of ways surprising, because I'm not in contact with my beloved the way that I was before, because he's been more in his his crisis, his hell, if you will, which I feel sad about that for him. But I know he also needs to go through it, and there are blocks that are placed there, and so he needs to work through that. Those are his things. Um, so your divine masculine is going through his stuff. You are going through your stuff as well. There is an aspect within you that's divine masculine. And I think I mentioned it before. I had channeled a while back from Magdalene and Yeshua. I had this beautiful breakfast with them. Literally, they were sitting there while I was eating, and we were having a conversation, and it was about the divine feminine, divine masculine, and twin flames particularly. And they simplified it. So, for example, the divine feminine has 75% divine feminine energy and 25% divine masculine. And the divine masculine has 75% divine masculine and 25% divine feminine. And for the average human that is not a twin flame, it's 50-50. They have 50 masculine, 50 feminine. But because we're divine masculine and feminine in two bodies, it's like one is more divine masculine and one's more divine feminine. And to balance it, we need to come together. And so I'm using those numbers because they gave that to me as the most basic way to explain it. And it was really helpful for me to see it that way. So recognize that your 25% of divine masculine, if you're divine feminine, is going through the crisis. And recognize if you're a divine masculine, there's 25% of you that already knows what you need to do, because that's getting loud, really, really loud, where it's been probably shut off for a long time. It's been awakened. That's the awakened piece that's coming, that's waking up. That's the part that's like fueling the divine masculine to be kind of in a battle internally. So honor that part of you and recognize that part for your beloved as well. What else do I want to share with you that my guides have been giving me? I feel a little all over the place again because I've been sick, and I've had a head cold, and you can hear my throat's a little scratchy, and my ear's been weird. Let me see. They're telling me, okay, folk to refocus. They're refocusing me. So coming back to the divine masculine going through this change, it's happening internally for them. It's bringing them more into alignment of who they are, more into alignment of their soul, but it's also bringing them to a space where their inner voice gets louder than their head, because their head has been really loud for quite a long time, and that's where they've been on this journey. So over the last couple of days, I've been really not feeling well, but in my moments of being awake, I've had a lot of epiphanies, a lot of things come through with the assistance of a couple of friends I spoke with. And one of the things that I discovered about my beloved is being trapped, his biggest pullback for him on a human level, versus I guess it's not really a spiritual thing. Now, my twin and I have been really attacked by the dark energies for a very long time. Like, our union was supposed to happen, and we started to get really attacked as we got really close to union, like really, really attacked. Hence why I almost died. I had some assistance with that. Thank you, by the way, to the person who helped me work through some of the dark energies that were not energies that I usually work with. They were very low frequency energies that is not my particular specialty. They were earth-based energies. I work more in the galactic stuff. So that actually helped clear up some health stuff for me, because it brought into light what was being blocked and hidden from me because of the dark energies that have been attacking my beloved and I. And here's the reason I'm sharing all of that with you. When you have dark energies interfering or blocking you, you may be a great healer and great clearer of dark energies, and you may be really good about doing that yourself, but we can't see everything, because we're in it. And so I have no problem asking for help, and I have no problem accepting it when it comes my way. And I am grateful and blessed for that. So I say that to all of you. So if you feel you have dark energies interfering or attacking you in some way, you feel like that's the reason you're blocked, let me know and contact me. We'll work together and figure it out as a team, because we need to help each other, and I'm here. That's my job. That's my job as a twin flame person. It's my job as a healer, and it's my job as a channel. So we do need help. We can't see everything. So that's why I'm sharing that part with you. So I had assistance to guide me through that. And for the years that he's been attacked and I have been attacked, it really set us back, because it really kicked up not just our emotions and stuff that we needed to clear and purge, because that's part of the journey, right? That's a part of the twin flame piece. There was additional stuff thrown in, and that additional stuff is what needed to get cleared. And so for me recently, I'm noticing it's a bigger clearing that's happened. But um, what's still going on for him is there is still this underlying piece that needs to be healed and cleared for him. And I'm getting, for his energy, it's a divine masculine belief system. It's a masculine belief system, I should say. Not divine, because when I think of divine, it's this beautiful love thing where it's highest expression of divine masculine. I don't think of the lowest expression, but the masculine energy, my beloved, is following in the footsteps of his father. And I'm saying that, and my body's tingling. So your divine masculine, the divine masculine counterpart for you, might be experiencing following in their family's footsteps of like reliving that pattern, because they've not undone that. And because the divine masculine energy has gone deeper into the physical reality and has not been pulled out as much. And I say this because those of you watching this are more likely, not everyone, obviously, more likely to be the divine feminine in the relationship. And again, you could be male and be carrying the divine feminine. I have tons of masculine male friends that are actually divine feminine energies, and I can see it. I know it. I recognize it. The divine, the divine masculine, your divine counterpart, that is the divine masculine representing or expressing it in this life as a divine masculine, maybe went deeper, actually did go deeper into this physical reality. And the divine feminine has been able to kind of raise up, because the outpouring of divine feminine energy is kind of like this massive wake up call that's happened in the last 20 years, particularly where there's just been such a flow of like women coming into who they are, right? But that's because the divine feminine energy coming to the planet and getting recognition differently. And so it's been really hard for us. So I'm not gonna negate that, but it's been really easy for us compared to how it's been for them. So that being said, the divine masculine, who's been really like entrenched into the 3D reality, um, has been really having a difficult time prying their hands away, because they're enmeshed and they're still doing what has been a program for them, continuing the same journey. And so the divine masculine, what I've discovered with my twin, and I'm sharing it because I'm hoping that it might resonate or assist some of you. Um, he is like literally reliving his father's footsteps, and that is like based on his religion, based on his culture, based on his family ancestral origin, based on the family belief systems, the family patterns. It's like the one thing he didn't want to be was his father, and the one thing he's being is his father. And again, we all know how energy works. You focus on what you don't want, that's what you're bringing to you, which is so crazy, because so many of us like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be well, that's exactly what keeps happening. And I'm hearing it, and I have to tell you, my guys, you're like, are you listening to yourself? So for example, I'll say, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, guess what? I'm doing it more, because I'm saying I don't want to. So I am going to embrace that today and listen to what I just said, because that's important. Maybe that's something all of you might need to hear as well. But for him, for my divine masculine, he is still doing that pattern. So that's the part that he's been blocked from healing. That's what the dark energies have been doing. They've been giving him so much shit to deal with that he's not dealing with that root, that core. And I didn't even see that root and core until recently. And I'm like amazed, actually. And I'm thinking, oh wow, this is something I need to work on. And I actually feel that the divine masculine has had a harder time on this planet. And knowing everything I've gone through, despite all the stuff I have gone through, I think to myself, yeah, it's been harder for him than it is for me. And believe me, it's been really freaking hard for me. So I'm not belittling us, but I'm recognizing that it's like they're going with blinders on and they don't have a clue. And, um, they we have we have a society where it's very easy to see how the distortion of the divine feminine or the distortion of women has been on our planet, but we don't always see as easily how distorted it is for our divine masculine or the male on our planet, because it's been a very patriarchal society. But what we forget, I think, is that the divine the masculine on our planet, there's only a small group that's controlled us on this planet. And that small grouping has established what everything is, right? This is what it should be, this is how it looks, and they've been controlling it. And I'm obviously simplifying it because it's a much deeper conversation and much longer one that I could have, and I do have with my students and my clients. But what I see is that all this stuff is going on, and but it's all from this small grouping. And yet it's affected everyone on this planet. And so the divine masculine has been really like trying to uphold that, but then it doesn't make any sense because inside of them they've had these stirrings like, this doesn't make sense. I'm not like this. I don't fit that. But then they worked really, really hard to fit that. And that also adds to the generation that they were born in and raised in. So my beloved is older than me. So he's definitely struggling. He's in that in between cusp of like, no, I can be who I am, and no, I really can't. This is what's expected of me. This is what I need to do. So that's where my beloved is. I'm guessing a lot of your beloveds are in that same space, and I really recommend that you look into that to see what's going on so that you can actually assist him or her. This assist your divine masculine. I say him because I say it's the masculine, but again, a divine masculine could be a female. I've met plenty of those too. So it's not like when I say masculine and feminine, it's not he, she. But for the sake of me speaking, I often say it as he, she, but it doesn't mean that. Please understand that. Um, the the changes that need to take place for the masculine energies on this planet are in contradiction to what has been known or what has been said or what is expected or what has been projected upon them. And if you're in the United States, we're in a country where literally it's almost like we step back in time. And I don't want to do the political thing. I don't want to go into that discussion, but I have to bring to the forefront that it is a small grouping of men, particularly white men, who are trying to control our country based on those beliefs that no longer are of value to our planet, but no longer actually being supported. And so it's actually shocking that they're running our country. And I think it's like it has to be this extreme for us to actually see the difference and what's going on. So I feel like if you recognize that on a greater scheme, the United States is a great example of the changing that's happening. And it's actually a great example of what's going on with our twin flames, because it's like the old energy still has a foothold here, yet everything else is changing around it. So it's this, but then all around it is all different. And I hold my hands like that because that's what it feels like, clenching and holding on really tight. All of that is happening. All of that is changing. So yes, while there's a small grouping that's in control, that's exactly what it's been like for eons on this planet. A small grouping has controlled our planet. That is different now. They're no longer in charge. But what's crazy is we're still giving them power and we're still giving them the credit to take and the energy to have. And so, with all of that being said, recognize that it's really important that we look at what we can remove from that and take away the power that we're giving them. So even with our divine masculine, we need to take away the power we're giving their problems, the power we're giving to their patterns. Instead, we need to help them remove those patterns. But we can't remove those patterns if we don't see our own and clear our own. So I think the reason my guides for the last year, one of the messages they constantly have been saying, raise your vibration, raise your vibration, raise your frequency. that is because we have to raise our frequency. We have to raise our vibration. If we don't do that, then we can't see from a higher dimension what needs to happen down here, what needs to go on. And I have been working really hard at raising my frequency and my vibration for a year now, but really focused probably since October of last year. Ironically, I was still being attacked and I was taking that magnesium at very high doses since October. So all that time, I was competing with the energy of trying to raise my vibration, but being sick at the same time and gradually getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And it wasn't like something just happens overnight. Like literally, it was something that was building in my system over time. So I think that's interesting that that happened. And there's a closing of cycle coming this weekend. And I feel like that's a huge shift for me personally because of everything I've been through. But I've also been attending a couple of sound healing events. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with these two people, but I'm going to share with you Judy Satori and Tom Kenyon. Look them up if you haven't. They have a lot of free stuff on their website for you to listen to, a lot of free healing stuff, and they're phenomenal. They do light language. Well, Judy Satori does light language, which I'm obviously very familiar with, and I am so comfortable with, and it helps raise my frequency. It is kick-ass powerful energy, just like when I do a light language attunement for people or blessing, like I did this past weekend. It was so powerful, some of the stuff that I did with my open house that I had here in Connecticut. And that energy is like kick-ass energy, but it will knock you out. Like it will totally knock you out. So if you're not used to that frequency and that vibration, I did well with one of them. The second one, I was in the rafters and I had trouble coming back down. So it was, for me, I have trouble grounding again because I love being in the ethers and in the rafters. Like to me, that's awesome energy. And I don't like leaving it because that feels home to me, closest to home that I could feel. And when I've done this work, like I've noticed that my energy is definitely, the frequency's gotten higher and I feel much higher frequency and I love it. I'm feeling like, oh my God, I'm back to me. I'm actually me. And this past weekend, the open house I did was really powerful for me. It was really powerful for the people that attended, but really powerful for me to recognize I'm back. Yes. I've been trying to be back since my car accident. So my car accident is gone as far as I'm concerned. And maybe that's what June 11th is for me too. A closure of that timeline is gone. And I'm back to the timeline of union, back into like that vibrational frequency. But I'm also back in the timeline of being powerful and being who I truly am. So that is like huge, huge stuff going on right now. And I really encourage you to please watch this and pay attention. There's so much out there that we just don't always hear or listen to. And it's very important that we pay attention to what's going on inside of us. And there's no one blocking our union more than us. So I'm not saying that the dark doesn't interfere and there isn't a dark energy that might be impacting you, but really we block it because we're not really heeding what we know inside of ourselves. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to people and I worked with them and they say, yeah, I know I'm supposed to ground, but I didn't do it. I just can't. I can't make the time for it. Well, you have to. Like that is the work that we're here to do. And you think grounding and taking care of yourself and meditating is like, oh my God, I can't fit that in my day. Well, you know what? That has to happen because if we don't do that, then we're not actually doing our job, because when we're doing that, we're shining our light the brightest that we can shine it. And if we're not actually allowing ourselves to shine our light daily and be in that energy of high frequency vibration and high interdimensional energy, if we're not allowing ourselves to get there or be there, then we're not actually allowing our beaming to our beloved and say, come to me, because it's an automatic energy that we send. So that's a huge deal. We have a full moon tomorrow. It's very powerful energy. It's moving in. You can see it the last few days. I've talked to a lot of people who've been sleeping a lot. As I mentioned, I slept so much, but I feel like mine has a lot to do. It's probably the full moon on top of the fact that I wasn't feeling good and just kind of run down. But there is like a massive, oh, there goes my voice. There is a massive energy coming in with this full moon. And I actually feel like it is the energy of closure. It's closing out that cycle. So I feel like that's why my guides are bringing that into our awareness. So I want to bid you farewell, and I will come back with a reading because I actually pulled the cards and I want to read them for you later on today. Unfortunately, I have to go now because we're almost at 30 minutes and I don't like to take up so much of your time with this video, but I feel like this message is really important. I hope it helps all of you and it makes some sense to you. And again, if you need assistance, please know I'm here for sessions individually. I'm here to do some group meditations with all of you. I really I really want us all to come into union. I think it's so much, it's so needed, right? But it's not just that it's so needed, it's so time. It's time. Like, we're not supposed to be separate anymore. It's not supposed to be difficult anymore, but we have to clear the difficulties. So if I can be of service to help you with that, by all means, please do that. Please contact me so that I can help you. A lot of the stuff that is out there for twin flames, I want you to be discerning and pay attention, because sometimes, the energies are out there not always giving you guidance clearly. And it's not because the person doesn't want to do that for you and there's not energies that want to do that. But if somebody tells you there's nothing else for you to do, I think that's incorrect, because I feel like we would be in union if we didn't have more to do. And there's always stuff to do, because we're here as beings of light to change this planet. We're all star beings. We all have star energies within us to assist the ascension of humanity and to assist the ascension of this planet and to change the consciousness. Our shift is happening, but we're the ones doing it. We're the ones here to do it. And so there is work for us to do. We need to clear every barrier that we have to receiving or giving love. And I know some of you are like, I'm so great at this. I give love all the time, or I know how to receive. We suck at receiving. That's a huge thing for all of us humans, because guess what? We've been programmed by this planet not to receive. We've been programmed to be kind of a martyr. So it's really important that we learn to receive for ourselves, but we can't learn to receive if we have these blocks telling us we're not worthy and we're not good enough. So please, by all means, clear up that stuff. I send you love, namaste, and blessings for a beautiful union. If I do not come back with my reading for today, I will be back with it tomorrow. Again, I pulled the card. They're sitting here waiting to be read. I'm going to leave them separate from my deck. I will read them for you soon. Namaste, so much love, and blessed union to all of you, and happy full moon. Make sure you catch some rays of that moon.